Now, more news is coming in because this morning we had reports coming in of another case sympathizer that was shot dead in Canada in Winnipeg. And now CNN News 18 has exclusively accessed details of who exactly was behind it. We're given to understand now that Lawrence Bishnoi has claimed responsibility for the killing of Sukhdool in Canada, in Winnipeg. Remember, he was shot dead. This morning reports came out. This was a part of an inter-gang rivalry is what we were learning. That clearly seems to have been proven once again. It is the responsibility of Lawrence Bishnoi is what he claims, and that responsibility has now been taken on social media via a Facebook post. That's the big update that we are getting to you as far as the Canadian gangsters, Indian gangster wanted by the NIA in Canada is concerned. Anshul, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Now, Anshul, this morning when news broke of Sukhdool's killing, we knew it was about an inter-gang rivalry. Now we have Lawrence Bishnoi and his associates claiming responsibility.
So yes, it was very clear from the beginning that this was a gang war that had broken out there in Canada, because remember, all these gangsters are getting protection from the Canadian administration. That is the reason why all these gangsters who were operating in Punjab and in fact are in the most wanted list of the Indian authorities, they have been getting safe haven in Punjab. Now, the responsibility has been claimed by the gang members of Lawrence Bishnoi. What sources have confirmed to CNN News 18 is that the instruction was given by Lawrence Bishnoi to Brar, post which this entire planning of going ahead and killing Sukhdool Singh was hashed. This entire conspiracy was hashed, and late evening yesterday night is what we have been told that more than 20 rounds were fired at Sukhdool Singh. The basic rivalry between these two groups is something that has been out in the open, because remember, Sukhdool Singh belonged to the Bambiya gang, which is the rival gang of Lawrence Bishnoi in North India, and the gang of Lawrence Bishnoi is claiming that Sukhdool Singh was actually involved in the killing of Vicky, who was a massive part of the Bishnoi gang, and to avenge his death, to avenge his killing, this action has been taken, and the responsibility has now yet again been taken by the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. Remember, Lawrence Bishnoi is still in the jail of Gujarat. He was taken to Gujarat by the Gujarat police over allegations of drug smuggling that was against Lawrence Bishnoi. So yes, another big claim by the Bishnoi gang, and how the gang war has now spread to Canada as well because of the safe haven that has been provided to them.
Now, as far as Hardeep Nijjar's death was also concerned, the death that India was blamed for by the Canadian administration, that too was a result of inter-gang rivalry, is what we were learning. This seems to be just in a series of attacks that we are seeing. Gangs, especially Khalistani backers, they're running amok, Anshul.
Well, definitely. So yes, what the Lawrence Bishnoi gang claims is that they are against the Khalistani groups, and the Bambiya gang is one gang who wants to make its name in Canada by being pro Khalistan. So yes, this gang war that was happening in India, which was on a small scale, has definitely expanded its scope, has definitely expanded its width with the kind of safe haven that they have been granted in Canada, and hence this gang war that was happening in India will now become a headache for the Canadian authorities and the Canadian administration as to how they will go ahead and take control of this entire situation, because yes, several such killings have happened over the past as well, where inter-gang rivalry has happened, where gang members from both the sides, be it from the Bambiya gang or be it from the Bishnoi gang, they have been running amok against each other on Canadian soil. But yes, we are still awaiting for an official confirmation from the Canadian police and Canadian administration as to what has come out in the investigation that has happened till now. Yes, this Facebook post has been made by the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. They have claimed responsibility for this, but yes, this could actually yet again be a thing through which the Bishnoi gang wants to get some more attention, wants to get some more followers. So yes, once the entire investigation is over, we could get an exact clarity if at all the Lawrence Bishnoi gang was involved in this. But yes, at this point in time, what sources have confirmed to CNN News 18 that Lawrence Bishnoi has taken responsibility, and he has said that more than 20 rounds of bullets were fired, and this was a revenge act that has taken place because of the killing.
Right, of course, this is just a
Middkhera.
claim at the moment. It has to be investigated by the NIA as well. If this is just an act of bravado by the Lawrence Bishnoi gang or there is some truth to it, all of that will be investigated. But let's take a look exactly at what has been happening in Canada. We have been seeing several Khalistani sympathizers that have been killed in the recent past, all of which is part of an inter-gang rivalry because they want to appear to be the ones that are fighting for the cause of Khalistan. That's what we've gathered from our sources. So let's take a look at the most recent incident that came to the fore this morning. This is about Sukhdool Singh, who was a gangster of the Davinder Bambia gang. He was killed this morning in Winnipeg. He was killed in an inter-gang rivalry, like I was pointing out. He hailed from Punjab's Moga district. We're given to understand that he went to Canada in 2017 on a forged passport. Whether he got citizenship in Canada after that or no, there is still mystery over that. He did fund the Bambia gang in Punjab, in Haryana and Delhi. He is wanted by multiple agencies here back home. Even though he fled in 2017, he is believed to have orchestrated several of these crimes sitting in Canada there. He faced charges of extortion. Several of those cases have been filed against him. He's been orchestrating crimes, especially in Punjab and several nearby cases. What we have learned from our sources within the intelligence agencies is that at least 20 criminal cases have been registered against him. He's also a wanted man by the NIA. There was an NIA notice that was put up of his role in extortion cases and murder cases and how he is escaping the law. He's trying to evade the law. Since 2017, he was in Canada is what we know. Whether he was granted Canadian citizenship or he still is an Indian citizen, we still have to ascertain those details. Security analyst Pathikrit Payne now joining us here on this broadcast for more perspective. Now, Pathikrit, we've been talking about how many of these Khalistani sympathizers have been dropping like flies, if you will, in Canada. In the last several months, we've seen several of them being killed, one of which was blamed on India, but it seems like it's just a gang issue, them trying to ascertain who really is wanting to be the messiah of the Khalistani cause or false cause.
Well, absolutely. And if you see the precedents of most of these elements who actually went to Canada, maybe in the last 2 decades, most of them have criminal records. Most of them have been involved in extremely violent acts of crime. And then they went to Canada with forged papers and or fake documents. And it's a shocking reality that in most cases, the Canadian government and administration turned a blind eye and actually gave them refuge. Many got the permanent resident status and some even got the citizenship. So when you have such kind of crime syndicates being allowed to proliferate in Canada, and they have strong, allegiance to the Khalistani extremist organizations, invariably there would be intra-gang and inter-gang rivalry. And these rivalries eventually lead to not just killing amongst each other, but also about sharing of the loot, sharing of the area dominance and everything else that happens. So I think these are the after effects that Canada would see at a very high proportion because they have, for their moral high horse that they tend to ride, they have turned a complete blind eye on extremist organizations. And extremist organizations, if you just allow them to proliferate just because they are propagating violence in another country, eventually they are not going to get restricted to that only. They will do the same thing in their own host country where they're living, and that's exactly what Canada is seeing. So I think eventually Canada, unfortunately, because of Trudeau's policies, might eventually turn out to be a gangland of all kind of mafia war, and we are witnessing that. So I think allegations that they were putting on India was fake. These kind of things have happened in case of Pakistan also. There are various terror organizations in Pakistan. They eventually had splinter groups, factionalism leading to killing of each other, and that's exactly what is happening in Canada. So there's a replica of the situation in Pakistan getting actually emulated in Canada because of...
Also because it's the same mastermind that seems to be running the show, Pathikrit, isn't it? We've seen the ISI do that with terror groups in Pakistan. We've seen the ISI do that with these Khalistani sympathizers on foreign soil like in Canada.
Absolutely, Poonam. The reality is when you give weapon systems to people, when you give, all kinds of nefarious activity, give them the license for all kinds of nefarious activities, when you give them a large amount of illegal money, and then you expect them to be disciplined and they will listen only to what you say, it's certainly not going to happen. It didn't happen in case of Pakistan, and it is not happening in case of Canada. So they thought that they will only do and propagate these things against India. It is not happening that way. They are eventually, turning Canada into another Pakistan. Maybe that is what certain people want, because ISI has almost literally a free run in Canada. So it is also almost like a de facto Pakistan today, Canada. And so